Ah, mira, soy la de los sueños. Y los niños hacen un super
Qué
match
lindo.
conmigo. Y las mamás me dicen, pero ahora sí se va a operar. Y
Tengo
yo,
una pregunta.
sí.
¿Vos crees que hay una diferencia sustancial entre una anestesióloga especialista en cardiología, versus una anestesióloga común y corriente?
Por supuesto. No.
It was supposed to be a normal Sunday morning, lights on, doors unlocked. Another shift. At T exactly 8 o'clock a.m., an employee arrived at the Dollar Tree store located at 968 SW 8th Street in Southwest Miami, Little Havana. A familiar neighborhood, busy streets, small shops, people who walk past every day without looking twice. The store had not opened yet. No customers, no music playing, just silence. The employee followed the usual routine. Clock in, check the aisles, head to the back warehouse. Nothing felt unusual until it did. Inside an employee-only freezer, there was a body. A woman. Motionless. Cold. By the time help arrived, she was already gone. Her name was Helen Maciel Garay Sanchez. She was 32 years old, and her final hours remain a mystery. Dollar Tree is not a strange place. It is familiar. It is the kind of store people walk into without thinking twice. Bright fluorescent lights, narrow aisles, cheap prices printed on green signs. Parents stop in for snacks. Workers come by during lunch breaks. Neighbors run quick errands. Nothing about it feels dangerous. Nothing about it feels risky. There is no warning sign at the door. No sense that something could go wrong. That is why the story is unsettling. This did not happen in a dark alley or an abandoned building. It did not happen in a place people avoid. It happened in a store people trust. A place built into everyday life. When tragedy happens in an ordinary place, it feels closer. It feels personal, because everyone watching can imagine themselves there, walking those aisles, passing that freezer, never knowing what had happened just hours before. Security cameras inside the store captured everything, frame by frame. On Saturday night, Helen Maciel Garay Sanchez walked into the Dollar Tree alone. There was nothing unusual about her entrance. No hesitation, no visible fear, no one following behind her. She did not stop to shop. She did not pick up a basket or glance at the shelves. She walked with purpose, moving past household items, seasonal decorations, and candy displays. Her steps carried her straight to the back of the store. To an area customers rarely see. To the freezer. The cameras show her reaching the door. They show her going inside. And then, the heavy freezer door closes behind her. No struggle is visible. No rush. Just a quiet moment that would later raise endless questions. That footage marks the final moment Helen was seen alive. Police made one thing clear early in the investigation. Helen was alone. Security footage showed no one chasing her, no one forcing her into the freezer, and no one entering after her. There was no sign of robbery. Nothing was taken. Nothing appeared disturbed. There were no signs of violence, no evidence of a physical struggle. This was not a break-in. It was not an attack caught on camera. It was one woman, acting on her own. That fact only deepened the mystery, because when there is no suspect, no obvious crime, the questions grow heavier. Why did she go there? What was she thinking in that moment? One decision, one step forward, and a door that closed behind her, separating her from help, from warmth, and from anyone who could hear her. That Saturday night ended like any other shift. Employees finished their work. They straightened aisles. They cleaned up small messes. They clocked out and prepared to leave. The doors were locked. The lights were turned off. No one checked the freezer. An alarm went off. Nothing signaled that something was wrong. Inside, the city of Miami kept moving. Cars passed by. People talked and laughed. Music drifted from nearby buildings. Life continued. Inside the store, behind a locked door, Helen remained, alone, surrounded by cold metal walls. No one knew she was there. No one came back. And the store stayed closed through the night, holding a secret no one expected. Freezers are not designed for people. They are built to preserve goods, not life. Once the door closes, temperatures begin to drop quickly, breathing becomes harder, muscles stiffen, the body struggles to maintain warmth. Time slows down in ways that are impossible to describe. Minutes feel like hours. And no one knows what Helen experienced inside that freezer. Did she immediately realize the danger? Did she try to push the door open? Did she knock or shout, hoping someone would hear her? Or did confusion set in first? There are no answers to those questions yet, only silence. What happened in those final moments remains locked away, just like the freezer itself. And that uncertainty is one of the most painful parts of this story. No one heard her. No one came back. The freezer door stayed closed all night, and the store stayed quiet. Somewhere, a phone rang. The timing hardly mattered. What mattered was the message. Helen was gone. In an instant, everything changed. A daughter was lost. A sister was gone. A life ended in a way that made no sense to the people who loved her. Shock came first. Then disbelief. Then grief. Questions followed quickly, but answers were few. How could this happen? Why was she alone? What went wrong? This call marked the beginning of a long and painful process for her family. A process filled with loss, confusion, and a search for understanding. As part of the investigation, detectives spoke with Helen's family. These conversations were difficult and deeply personal. They asked about her mental health, about her behavior in recent days, about whether she had been struggling or seemed confused. These are painful questions, especially for grieving loved ones. But they are necessary. Investigators need context. They need to understand the person behind the case, not just the circumstances of the death. Sometimes, the answers are not found in evidence alone, but in the quiet details of someone's life. Mental health struggles are often invisible. People move through daily life, smiling, nodding, and appearing fine. They walk through stores. They blend in, and inside, they may feel lost. If Helen was struggling, she was not alone. Many people face mental health challenges without support or understanding. This part of the story forces an uncomfortable conversation, one that is often avoided. Silence can be dangerous, and stories like this remind us how important it is to pay attention, to check in, and to speak up when something feels wrong. One question continues to surface. Could the freezer door be opened from the inside? Was it locked? Did it malfunction? These details matter because safety systems exist to protect lives. A single failure can have devastating consequences. Investigators will examine the freezer closely, including its design and functionality. Understanding whether it could be opened from the inside is critical. This question goes beyond one case. It speaks to safety standards and accountability. News of Helen's death spread quickly. Social media filled with shock and disbelief. People ask the same questions again and again. How does something like this happen? How did no one notice? The story resonated because it felt close to home. It happened in a place people trust, and that made it impossible to ignore. People slowed their cars as they passed the store. Some stopped. Some prayed quietly. Others just stared at the building. The store looked the same as always, but it felt different. People tried to understand what had happened inside, tried to make sense of something that felt impossible. Helen's family soon faced another painful reality. She was far from home. Returning her body to Nicaragua was expensive, more than the family could afford. So they started a GoFundMe, not for attention, not for comfort, but to bring her home. To give her dignity. Grief does not stop at borders. It moves through phone calls, messages, and long silences. Helen's family mourned from another country, unable to see her, unable to say goodbye. Distance made the loss even heavier. As of now, the investigation continues. No final cause of death has been released. No clear conclusion has been reached. Only facts remain. Helen entered the store. She never left, until answers come. This story remains unfinished. This story feels close because it happened in a place people trust. A place entered without fear. That familiarity is what makes it unsettling. It reminds us how quickly ordinary moments can turn tragic. One decision, one door, one night, and everything changed. Helen, Maciel Garay Sanchez was more than a headline. She mattered. Her life mattered. And her death deserves answers. This is not just a story about death. It is about silence, about systems, about people who disappear in plain sight. If you're someone you know is struggling, speak up. Because sometimes, silence is the most dangerous place of all.